Okay, we are rolling. It's been a week, or over a week, since my last video. Champions of Champions boxing talk. What have we got on the horizon this weekend? A real big fight that's received some criticism, but I'll tell you this. If you're an Australian, this fight's been everywhere. Manny Pacquiao v Jeff Horn. And because it's on ESPN America, it will get huge views. Because as you and I know, when somebody purchases pay-per-view in the US, it could only be maximum 500,000 would see the run-of-the-mill Manny Pacquiao or Floyd Mayweather fight, for example. But when it's on free TV, you get bigger numbers. So therefore, you have the potential to expand your fan base. So if there was concerns that Manny Pacquiao's fan base was dwindling, with a good performance and a good fight in Australia, live on ESPN, and of course in the UK on Box Nation, his ratings could shoot through the roof once again. Now, he's obviously still got something, Manny Pacquiao, hasn't he? Because one of Jeff Horn's biggest fights only sold 1,500 tickets. Jeff Horn now is going to be playing a gig to 50,000 people thanks to his Filipino foe. So Manny Pacquiao is still a draw. Make no mistake about it, this guy can go to many countries in the world and not only sell arenas out, but stadiums. Do you know he's sold in Australia more than the MGM Grand 3 times over? Pretty astonishing. And Australia is not even his country, right? I know people say a lot of Filipinos live in Australia, but a lot of Filipinos live all over the world. But he draws Australians in, Manny Pacquiao. The United States, which has been his adopted family, shall we say. Look how many times he's sold out arenas and stadiums there. In Texas. MGM Grand and things like that. And he's not even American. It's quite extraordinary. He sold out venues in Japan when he was younger. He isn't Japanese. I feel sorry for the Filipinos, really, because they do deserve a fight from Manny Pacquiao. Can you imagine the stadium they would need to put a Manny Pacquiao-Marquez 5 fight in the Philippines? They'd need $250,000 at least. I've said it before, I'll say it again. If Manny Pacquiao come to the UK, you might have to book Wembley again. Because, as I said, this guy is not a domestic star. He's a global star. In terms of, shall we say, transcending the sport, if I could put one name of the last era who would sort of remind me of what Muhammad Ali used to do on the road, it's Manny Pacquiao. Muhammad Ali could fight in Manila, in England, in America, wherever, and sell the place out. And Manny, for his time, is the same. And he sort of, although the personalities are a little bit different, Manny Pacquiao is a more quiet and reserved person than Muhammad Ali was. They generate excitement because people know when you see these guys in the ring, it's going to look good. And much of Manny Pacquiao's career has looked good. So, it's a success. When all's said and done, when this fight was announced and people panned it, it's a success. But let's get on to the matchup. This is my final breakdown for the fight. Jeff Horn is a much better fighter than any of you are giving him credit for. This, style-wise, is a good match. The only way it won't be a good match is if, when Jeff Horn tastes Manny Pacquiao's very sharp left hand, goes on the back foot. But I get the feeling that this is not in Jeff Horn's nature. Timothy Bradley has a back foot game. So he can go out on a points defeat when he's tasted power. Jesse Vargas I thought didn't have a back game, but when he was hit by Manny, proved he did have a back game, and he was on it after the second round in the Vargas-Pacquiao fight. I haven't seen that evidence, though, in clips I've seen of Jeff Horn. And I have seen these two guys in exclusive footage. I can't tell you or breach the confidence of the person that sent me this stuff, but I have seen private sparring sessions of the current version of Manny Pacquiao and this Jeff Horn kid, right? And I'll tell you, Jeff Horn looks sharp, he looks powerful, he looks ready, he looks focused. But you know what he seems to do in these sessions? When he's tagged, he carries on coming forward. Who does that remind me of? A very famous fighter from the UK, Ricky Hatton. Jeff Horn's camp, and I've seen it for myself in the footage, have you heard me? The footage. I've heard whispers of a Marcus Maidana style fight. Let me tell you something. A Marcus Maidana style fight may give you a credible performance against Floyd Mayweather, because styles make fights. Floyd Mayweather seemed in his time to have a bit of trouble, and I say a bit because, you know, Floyd's had a great career, but he seemed to have trouble with a Roberto Duran, Marcus Maidana, Castillo, Ricky Hatton, Miguel Cotto style fighter. Seek and destroy, volume, pressure, work rate, not allowing you to think because Floyd's a thinker. That's a good game plan for Jeff Horn. If he was fighting Floyd Mayweather, I would say, though I would still put Floyd a big favourite, that Jeff would come out of this fight looking with some credits to his bow, shall we say, or some strings to his bow. That is not the style you want to be doing against Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao feels like it's Christmas Day when you come to him and don't stop. Ask Miguel Cotto, ask Ricky Hatton, ask Brandon Rios, ask Shane Mosley early, ask Floyd Mayweather when he actually made a better start in the MGM Grand offensively than we remember. Then he got tagged by a left hand, didn't he, in the 4th round? And after that, it was back to Floyd Money Mayweather. In other words, a back foot game. Because against seek and destroy guys, Manny has the hand speed advantage on virtually every fighter of the last 20 years. Only, I would say, Joe Calzaghe pound for pound, or Amir Khan, maybe, in terms of speed of combination punches, comes close to Manny Pacquiao. Floyd may have a better fast, straight right hand, but punches in bunches, Manny has the hand speed advantage. And Floyd knew this, right? But Jeff Horn, in the footage I've seen, can't do what Floyd can do. And the crowd, the adrenaline behind him, will mean he will come in there feeling like he's Rocky Balboa. But this is real life. This is why the crowd will cheer Jeff on. I think they're more for Manny than for Jeff. But when Jeff Horn keeps coming forward and the crowd keeps cheering, I do see Manny eventually picking the spots to land his left. And if Jeff Horn comes in too close, remember the shot that really stunned Antonio Margarito? That little short right hook, sorry. The right hook inside from Manny Pacquiao is a very overlooked punch. It troubled Timothy Bradley. It troubled Marquez. Marquez was on his last legs by a short left hook inside from Manny Pacquiao in their 4th fight. That's what Jeff Horn has to deal with. And the foot speed. Jeff Horn's footwork to me has been impressive. But I'm not sure I've seen, again, Joe Calzaghe is the nearest, in terms of offensive footwork and being able to get around the ring like Spider-Man, right? Only Lomachenko and Joe Calzaghe compare to Manny Pacquiao. So as good as your footwork is, it has to be a great back foot footwork to put Manny off so he can't throw his shots. Because if you've got great footwork cutting the ring off for Manny Pacquiao, that's what he wants you to do. He wants you to come to his neck of the woods and have a fight, because there, his reflexes, his speed, his experience is likely to be better than yours, right? And from the footage I've seen of both guys, Manny is still by far the faster of the two guys in the ring, right? Jeff Horn has looked tremendous. Freddie Roach, at the beginning of this fight, the announcement, was worried about Manny Pacquiao. What I've seen, I'm telling you, Manny Pacquiao's current weight is 142 pounds, and it is showing it with his speed. He looks faster now than in his last fight, right? I'm not going to lie to you and say I seen the Manny Pacquiao that beat Cotto and Ricky Hatton in them sessions, because nobody's invincible. Age catches us all. But for a near 39 years of age and being an attacking, shall we say, counter-punching boxer-puncher, he is in phenomenal shape. Better shape than 80% of young fighters in the world today. So Jeff Horn is going to be dangerous early, right? This is what I think. But we know Manny Pacquiao is dangerous early too. Ask Jesse Vargas. He was down in the second round via Manny Pacquiao. Here's the thing. I don't think Jeff Horn either has as big a reach as Jesse Vargas. His range is not the same. So even though he appears stockier and a bigger build than Manny Pacquiao, he won't be able to fend Manny off with a jab at a range. Jeff Horn has got to do what Jeff Horn does and hope it works, because Manny Pacquiao, as his career has gone on, we forget something. He's fought defensive and boxing masters, counterpunchers, technicians. And as time has gone on, he's learned how to even beat that style. For instance, Timothy Bradley. Pacquiao has beaten him 3 times. Timothy Bradley is as good a technical boxer as Marquez is. He beat Marquez, right? Manny Pacquiao against the master boxer, Marquez, has floored him a total of 6 times in their fights, and has more than held his own, if not surpassed Marquez, who is a pure technical boxer and a great counterpuncher, right? So even those guys have struggled with Manny Pacquiao, right? I just think that any fighter, I don't care how brilliant he is, coming forward becomes food and drink for Manny Pacquiao, because you have to face all his arsenal. If you're there to be hit, he can then apply his volume. He can apply that left hand. He can dazzle you with his footwork, spin off you, use the sheer hand speed advantage he has. If Jeff Horn can make Manny Pacquiao look for him, then he'll lose on points. I still think Manny will beat Jeff Horn on points, because he's got used to hitting guys who are going to retreat now. Years ago, Manny Pacquiao used to get flustered and frustrated when he'd hit a guy and they would go on the back foot. Now he's half expecting it. But if you stay there like Brandon Rios, and let's make no mistake about it, Brandon Rios is a really tough guy, and to the chin, he has one of the best chins in boxing. Can Jeff Horn stand there like Brandon Rios did and take the amount of punishment that Rios did? That is the question. If he can, then he's still in range, then, Jeff Horn, to land body and head shots. But here's the thing again. Manny Pacquiao, now being a savvy veteran, has learned how to tie up fighters on the inside. He did a lot of tying up in the Rios fight. He'd land combinations, then when he saw Rios come in, he'd tie him up. Then Rios would have to start again. And in a situation where two fighters have to start again, who's going to win? The slower guy or the faster one with faster hand speed and more accuracy? That's what the key in this fight is, the accuracy. And Manny Pacquiao, for such a fast guy, has astonishing accuracy. Look at the stats in his Timothy Bradley contests. The later fights, there isn't that much thrown. But what is thrown, you're talking 40+% landed. Which, that's up there with Floyd Mayweather accuracy. Right? Manny is just that good. This is one of the best fighters of his generation. And he's still got the power. Vargas was down. Bradley was down twice. Floyd was buzzed. Don't let anybody else kid you about that. Floyd was buzzed. Chris Algieri, well, he basically cleaned the arena. He was on the floor that often versus Manny Pacquiao. But Chris Algieri has great footwork. He can keep moving. Then Manny has to look for him. And then Chris Algieri can survive the 12 rounds but still lose. Jesse Vargas can sort of do the same. But Jeff Horn has short arms. Shorter arms than an Algieri and a Vargas. And he's not as experienced at elite level as Timothy Bradley. And as I say, Manny's been dropping people in sparring. Dropping them with headgear on. Right? Jeff Horn, if he gets overexcited, could be taken out from rounds 7 to 10, I think. And I think that's what will happen ultimately. I've seen Manny Pacquiao getting his first official stoppage since the Miguel Cotto fight all them years ago. And the reason he hasn't got a stoppage since is because fighters retreat when they fight him. If they kept coming forward, eventually he would take them out. Has some of the killer instinct gone? Yes, because Manny Pacquiao used to finish people based off volume. He'd hurt them, and then it would be punch after punch after punch after punch. Right? The lack of knockout does not mean he has a lack of power now. He just throws more single shots. Freddie Roach said it. But 2 of those shots that dropped Jesse Vargas, 2 of 3, would knock someone out, like an Eric Morales. That's what Morales and Barrera had to face. Now, if they'd have faced this version of Manny Pacquiao, let's say they lost the fight, they would lose it on more single shots and 1s and 2s. Don't forget, when you are knocked out cold like he was against Marquez, it does make you reassess a little bit. And although Manny Pacquiao has become a more measured fighter than he was before, the fans did love, they still love him now, but they did love that killer Manny Pacquiao, shall we say. That is what really made his name. There are greater heavyweights in history than Mike Tyson, but they aren't remembered as fondly as Mike because Mike was seek and destroy. Now, people say that doesn't count in a boxing ring. But unfortunately for Joe Public, it does. Styles are what attract fans. The only way you can make up for a bad boxing style that bores fans, even if you are winning, is to have a charisma about you that is unlike anybody else. create a WWE persona. That is what Floyd Mayweather's done. And in a way, that's what Manny Pacquiao has done. Floyd Mayweather is more $1 million man. But Manny Pacquiao is more Bret the Hitman Hart, you know. A people's champion who is professional and is intelligent and thoughtful. And although he's a quiet assassin, he may seem quiet in his press conferences, but you know this empty vessel will make the most noise come fight night. And that's what's going to happen. Jeff Horn, you will see in this fight early, is a better fighter than many believe. Because he will throw combinations, and Manny will tag Jeff Horn early, and I believe Jeff will take it, and then Manny will be surprised, because it's been a long time since the Rios fight, that a guy will keep on coming to him. Jeff Horn. So, Manny Pacquiao, apart from the physical size, has all the advantages. How does Jeff Horn win this fight? How? Well, Father Time, I think, and power, because power can beat anybody if it lands. That right hand is a good one from Jeff Horn, but Father Time is undefeated. So maybe if Jeff Horn can keep that work rate up, the way Ricky Hatton did against Kostya Tszyu, pressure, 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 and cutting that ring off, and kind of finding a way to smother Manny's work, maybe, just maybe he can pull this off. But here's the thing. As I said, Manny Pacquiao, I believe, is still terrific for 38 years of age. And Kostya Tszyu, in his prime, was not as fast as this Manny now. Ricky Hatton would have had more problems cutting the ring off from a guy of this Manny Pacquiao's speed than he did against Kostya Tszyu back in 2005. So it shows just how tenacious and how fast and how perfect Jeff Horn's attacks have to be against Manny Pacquiao. And Kostya Tszyu, to gain power, needs to extend his punches at the end. If Kostya Tszyu throws a shot and you smother it halfway, it doesn't have the same effect. But Manny Pacquiao has short arms and can, hurt you short. He doesn't always have to go long. And Manny Pacquiao, I've seen him do it, and I wish he'd do it more. He has a great body attack. Watch one of the body shots in the Antonio Margarito fight. This guy, right, must have been all of 18 pounds heavier than Manny Pacquiao on fight night. And he absolutely nailed Antonio to the body. And it stopped him in his tracks for virtually the rest of the fight. Jeff Horn may have to deal with body attacks as well as head attacks, because Manny Pacquiao is a varied puncher. Right? He's a better defensive fighter than he used to be as well, Manny Pacquiao. He doesn't get hit as much. So if you've got a fighter that you don't have to think about tracking down in the ring, because if there was a flaw about Manny's game, and there isn't many, he's one of the best in history, I would say it was his ability to cut off the ring. Can you imagine had Manny Pacquiao had Triple G's ability or Ricky Hatton's ability to cut off a boxing ring? If he would have done, this guy may have been unbeatable at his best. Because he cut the ring off and you'd have to face all that volume. And when he throws shots in bunches from different angles, something is going to land. When Joshua Clottey was stagnant against Manny Pacquiao and didn't move, no matter how much he was in the shell of his defence, Manny Pacquiao did get through. And you know what was troubling Mr. Clottey? Body shots. We've seen a lot of quality body shots this year. Errol Spence, for instance. Anthony Joshua did some good work. Right? So, Jeff Horn will do all the thinking for Manny. He'll be right there in front of him. Manny won't have to go looking for him. So then Manny can then show his arsenal to Jeff Horn. It's whether Jeff Horn can deal with it or answer as Manny is firing. When you've got two quality fighters in a boxing ring, it comes down then to pure, not only IQ, but genetics and the way the two fighters, their nature, in other words. And Manny is a freak of nature. He's a natural-born athlete. When you see him go back to training camp, he adapts really fast. He still has a natural speed about him. A natural accuracy rate about him. When you see him hitting the mitts with Freddie Roach, he doesn't seem to miss. And he's extremely fit for his age. So I see Jeff Horn coming in there, getting tagged, being gallant, and surprising Manny by attacking him, but Manny being able to spin away in Spider-Man mode, as we've seen him do, and catch Jeff at very funny angles. And I see Jeff Horn being dropped around the 4th round, and it will take us back to Ricky Hatton. Jeff Horn will get up from the canvas and will persist on attacking Manny Pacquiao, because that's his only way, is to go in, is for him to be a fire and somehow create more heat than the bigger fire, which is Manny Pacquiao, and hope that his fire can become water. I'm turning into Teddy Atlas now, aren't I? And put Manny's fire out, which there's always a puncher's chance while he's in range. But ultimately, I see him getting dropped, but I see Jeff Horn with the crowd behind him, with the energy of the event, the occasion, all of that stuff, keep coming at Manny Pacquiao, and Manny Pacquiao is going to love it. It's going to look more competitive than it really is. And then I see Manny breaking him down, but Jeff still not giving up, Joe Frazier style, being dropped again, getting up again, until eventually the referee or Mr. Horn's trainer has to put the towel in around the 10th round. But it will be pulsating, because Jeff Horn, to his credit, will want it that way. And Jeff Horn will leave the arena a beaten man, but we will know he's a better fighter than all of those critics who have never laced up a boxing glove in their life and stepped into the ring ever thought he was. And Manny Pacquiao will have big respect for Jeff the Hornet Horn. So, in my book, it's Manny Pacquiao 10th round stoppage. And Jeff Horn with a gallant, great effort, who will look then as a major player in the welterweight division, even in defeat to a legend. Would it still mean a lot to Jeff Horn if he was to beat Manny Pacquiao at 38 years of age? Yes, it would, because Manny Pacquiao does not look like Oscar De La Hoya at the end of his career. Manny Pacquiao does not look like Shane Mosley at the end of his career. Manny Pacquiao does not look like the greatest heavyweight in history in my book, Muhammad Ali, at the end of his career. Manny Pacquiao looks like he's at least on the Furman Spence level still. And of course, at his prime, he surpasses them. So, I've got Pacman in this. I think it's incredible. I think it's a credit that they've actually got this on free TV. Can't Keith Thurman deserves more views than he gets on free TV on PBC. That's a good thing because it's free boxing for the fans. But Manny Pacquiao is still a bigger name than Thurman. And with Manny Pacquiao projected, this is according to Bob Arum, projected to bring in 10 million views on ESPN, maybe it will then make people watch Spence, Thurman and other great guys on free TV, because we need to get rid of this pay-per-view nonsense. Because free TV makes the stars. There was no pay-per-view with Muhammad Ali. But he was global. Everybody knew him. I remember in the UK, no pay-per-view for Chris Eubank and Nigel Benn. It was free TV, their matches. Nigel Benn v Chris Eubank. Can you imagine that being on free TV now? That's right, it wouldn't happen. But then, you were talking, they were getting more views than the soaps on television. You were talking about 15 to 20 million views for Eubank v Nigel Benn. They were humongous superstars. Right? Joe Calzaghe, when he beat Mikhail Kessler. And I think it was Jeff Lacey. I think that was on free TV. And after that, Joe Calzaghe's career went into a whole different stratosphere. So free TV can be the maker of you, and it can be the saviour of you. And I think Manny Pacquiao and Jeff Horn will both leave the arena more popular than they came in, if that's possible. So Manny Pacquiao to win. Champions of Champions Boxing Talk. I'm out.